Hello and welcome back to Tactical Tuesday with Johnny Tiger. The date is December 15, 2020. If you see me on the street with my thick winter coat, maybe my hood pulled up just like this, a white cane in my hand, and a big backpack on my back, probably hunched over a little bit because trying to keep the wind out of my face. It gets really cold out there. You wouldn't, unless you're super observant or you have had some training before. In most cases, you wouldn't think of me as any kind of a threat at all. You might think that this is a blind guy, not particularly tall, definitely not above average, and he's got a big backpack on his back weighing him down, and he looks like he's sagging beneath the weight of his burden, huddling in on a thick winter jacket, so he's probably kind of pudgy underneath. Yeah, no problem. If you are a kind of a macho person, if you are someone who lift weights, go to the gym, and feel really good about your own ability, then in your head, you may think, yeah, that is just a blind guy, a pudgy blind guy walking down the street. No threat whatsoever. If someone was to ask you if you can take me in a fight, most likely you would laugh and say, sure, of course, no problem. Now, let's ditch the backpack. Let's take away the hood and let's throw away the jacket. Now, look at me. Do I still look like an easy target? Do I still look like just a blind guy walking down the street? Or do I look like someone who possibly, probably, very dangerous, armed with a very wicked knife that I just had under my jacket the whole time? I think the answer is very obvious. What is the point of this? The point, my friend, is you can't go by appearance out there. Because I didn't have to take off my jacket to be deadly, to be competent. I didn't need to drop my backpack to be able to defend myself. In fact, I would say that my ability to move, to fight, to defend myself, to cause harm to anybody is about equal. Even when I have my jacket zipped up, my hood up over my head, and me hunched over like this, no problem whatsoever. Even with the big backpack on my back. All these years of martial art knowledge, self-defense knowledge, it's all in here, in my head. All the muscle memory is in my body. For me to throw a punch with the jacket on, without a jacket, for me to throw an elbow with the jacket on, without a jacket, it's roughly the same. Maybe if I do it without jacket, without backpack, I move a tad faster. But regardless, the difference is so small. It doesn't really matter one way or another. Now, these are only the difference you can see. These are only the difference. Whether I have a jacket on or I don't have a jacket on, where you can see that I am fit, muscular, or I'm pudgy. These are outward things. What is more insidious, more dangerous, is what is on the inside of a person. I remember a student once told me, after training with me for 2 years, he said, "You know what? Before I came to train with you, I never trained in anything before. I just worked out, and I used to think that I wouldn't mind getting into a fight. I didn't want to do it, but I wasn't afraid of it because I believed that I could hit just as hard as the next guy. I believed that I could kick as hard as the next guy. I believe you give me a baseball bat, I can swing it as hard as the next guy. So I believe that even though I wasn't trained, if you annoy me, if you piss me off, I could handle myself pretty good in a fight, no matter who you are. But now, after training with you for 2 years, I realized I was wrong. I realized, no, I don't want to get into a fight with anybody. Because if a guy like you can walk out there and look so conspicuous, so uh, so deceiving in the thick winter coat, who knows who I'm going to run into if I get into a fight. I suddenly realized how deep the water is, how a trained person is totally different from someone who's untrained. And he was right. But the real big difference is not just in the physical. Of course, there's a lot of differences in the physical part of it as well. Uh, for example, if you're untrained, if someone come up to you and bang, pop you on the chin, most likely you're stunned, you're down there holding your chin, you're hurt, you don't have the will to fight anymore. Someone who is trained, on the other hand, can do what I just did, pop myself on the chin. Okay, I'm not even really holding back. That was like a 60% punch. I punch myself on the chin. Okay, I can smack myself on the face. I can get slapped. I can get punched like that. It's not. It's still going to stun me for maybe 0.5 of a second, if that. But I'm not going to lose my will to fight. I'm not going to forget my technique. I'm not going to get all jumbled up in my head. An untrained person getting kicked or getting hit in the groin will immediately fold up and cry. While a trained person is going to drop us too. We drop out to our knee too. But most likely, we will be able to get out of it. We'll be able to mentally push past that pain a lot faster than someone who is untrained. An untrained person, when they see a baseball bat coming at them, the initial reaction is to back away, which is like the worst thing you can do when someone is coming at you with a baseball bat. While a trained person, the moment that baseball bat come out, before the person even swing, we are moving in. Okay, those are the simple. the obvious, the tangible differences. But today, I want to talk to you guys about something that is more intangible, more unseen. I want to talk to you guys about the differences that go on in the head of a person, and just to show you how different a person is, trained versus untrained, even on the inside. When a person is untrained, the path from being passive to doing violence is relatively straightforward and unplanned and undisciplined. You can separate it into three stages. Stage one is conceptualizing. What is conceptualizing? This is the stage where you might be at the bar, you might be at the restaurant, and you might be at the back in the back alley, and a situation starts, and in your head you're thinking, "Uh-oh, uh, there might be violence. I might have to defend myself." You have the concept of violence already germinating in your head, conceptualizing. That is the first stage for an untrained person. Second stage is the leading and building. What is the building? What is the leading? That's the same thing, by the way. Just some people call it leading, some people call it building. I'm giving you both. I like to say the building. What is the building? Because most people who are untrained, not all, keep in mind when I talk about these things, it's never a blanket statement. It's never everyone's like this, everyone's like that. Because sometimes people are different. The person might be a born psychopath and going to react totally different to the rest of us. Okay? But in general, the building stage is because most people are very uncomfortable with the idea of violence. So before they commit to it, they will do things to lead up to it. What did you say? Say that again. No, no, say that again. Don't you touch me. Don't you push me. Push me again. Yeah, dare you. If you push, all this unnecessary noises. These are building. Huh? All this uh, shoving and pulling and jostling you see before a fight honestly commenced. Those are building. Those are testing waters and see, okay, are you going to back down? Because I'm really uncomfortable and I don't want to back down. If you back down, then we don't have to do this. And oh God, now you seem really strong. Okay, maybe I better back down, or maybe I better hit you first. This is the stage where all these messages are going back and forth between two people. They're dancing around. It's like a mating dance. It's the two people trying to feel out each other to decide, do we really want to do this? This is the building stage for an untrained person. And third and last stage for an untrained person is called reacting. When you're in the building stage, you're looking for a trigger. You're looking in your mind. You're thinking, hey, if he touch me again, I'm going to hit him. If he touch me one more time, I'm going to hit him. Yada yada yada. And then you make up your mind, and that thing happens, and you react to it. Okay? And then the violence commences. That is the three stages. Those are the three stages in a person's mind for an untrained person. The conceptualizing, realizing there may be violence, the building, leading up, building up the nerve to do that violence, and then the reacting, waiting for the thing to trigger you, to give you an excuse to do that violence. Very straightforward, very straightforward. Now, some people are going to say, yeah, but doesn't that work for everybody? Don't everyone kind of go through the same thing? Not, actually not. Uh, for a trained person, at least for a person who has been training for a relatively long period of time, the whole sequence is very different. Let me tell you what it is. Initially, the first stage for a trained person, such as myself, if there's going to be prospect of violence, my first thought, the first stage for me is goal setting, is boundary setting, setting up that boundary. Very similar to the stage, the place between second stage building, third stage reacting for untrained people. My boundary setting is very set in stone. I have my boundary. If this person come to me one more step, then I'm going to attack them. If this person even grab my jacket, then I'm going to attack them. If this person looks like they're going to reach in their pocket for something, now obviously I can't see that, but for a sighted trained person, that is something you take into consideration. If that person even looks like they're reaching for a weapon, then I'm attacking him. Okay, so this is the boundary setting stage. This goes first rather than like in an untrained person. It doesn't even actively happen. It's somewhere in between building and reacting. Uh, it's much more conscious and much more laid out in our head. And this is stage one. Stage two, visualizing. This is one of the most important stages in leading up to a confrontation, and something that often really lack in untrained people, or even if they do visualize, a lot of untrained people, they visualize only if they win. In their fantasy, in their visualization, they're the one that always wins. For a trained person, stage two, visualization, this sounds like it's a long stage, but in our head, in my head, it happened all within, or I would say, within 3 seconds, sometimes one. Okay, what's going through my head? If this person break my boundary, I'm going to do this or I can do this. I have six moves I can do, and this six move can lead up to 10 variations each. And if they move this way, I'm going to do this way. Let's say if they grab my jacket, I'm going to grab their hand and pull them down. And if they try to hit me with the other hand, I'm going to parry this way. And if they try to kick me, I put my leg across. Okay? All this, all that, the infinite amount of possibilities going through my head, giving me a very clear, very simple roadmap to follow if things happen. This is the visualizing. Obviously, it's not going to save you all the time. Sometimes you can't cover all the possibilities. Sometimes the person, like I have happened to me one time when I took a punch at a guy and he did something totally unexpected. He blocked my fist with a can of Coke in his hand, and that was, yeah, totally weird. Um, so there's going to be unexpected things, but by having this visualization, this roadmap in your head, you know how to move from point B to point C to point D. You have your steps mapped out. So if first step meet its conditions, let's say the person grab you, that's step one. Okay, condition met. You hit them on the wrist. That's condition two. Condition two met. You move to the side and reach to grab their head. Okay, if your hand made contact with their head, that's condition three met. You just keep moving until you achieve the goal that you set out to do. Stage number three for a trained person is loading. It's like loading a gun, but it's not a gun we're dealing with. We're talking about ourselves. What is loading? If this guy is really big and I think he's going to take a run at me, then I'm going to casually bend my knees, widen my stance a little bit, and shift my weight to where as soon as he comes towards me, I'm going to spin to the side. Okay? If this person is crowding me and I know I don't have room to swing at him, then I'm going to set my stance slightly, turn my foot outward, so if he comes toward me and crowd me, I sidestep to the side and hit him in the groin. Okay, this is the loading stage. We're going to talk more about this in the next episode. We have the loading stage. It's actually when martial artist is the most dangerous. Uh, Not the attacking, not any of the later stages, but the loading stage is like a sword that is ready to be drawn, but still not drawn. It's like a gun that's still in its holster, but is ready to be used. The loading stage is when a martial artist, a trained martial artist, a trained self-defense expert is the most dangerous. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more in the future. So stage three is the loading, the setting up your stance, relaxing, breathing in, and creeping that hand toward the pocket that you keep your knife in, and all that stuff. Stage four, stage four, moving. Now, some people say, well, isn't that the same thing? Don't we all have to move? So how come there's moving in the trained martial arts section and there's no moving in the untrained people section? Don't they have to move? They do. But that's a very different. Like moving and moving is not the same. When an untrained person going to their third stage, the reacting stage, it's very um, chaotic. It's very uh, set in stone almost. Like someone punch you on the nose and you start going bang bang bang. You start swinging back. Okay. Someone uh, 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 pour a glass of water over your head and you go in and start swinging. That's reacting. Okay, you are moving, but that's not one of your tactical stages because you're simply moving without thought. For someone who is trained, on the other hand, we can change our direction of movement anytime, even stopping what we were going to do. Let me give you a quick example. I'm in the loading stage. I'm in the loading stage. Okay, the person is coming toward me. I'm ready to sidestep and hit them in the groin. I'm ready to sidestep and hit them in the groin. Okay, that is my my visualization adding to my loading. Visualization gave me this plan, this battle plan. Loading gave me the right footwork to ready to go that way. So the person comes towards me and I step to the side. At this point, I'm still paying attention because if the person comes toward me and then they put out their hands and say, "Hey, hey, it's okay, it's okay, I didn't mean to startle you," then I don't hit them in the groin. Or if I step to the side, the person comes towards me, I swing to the groin, and then they block down, they somehow block my hand, I immediately come around with an elbow. Right? So my moving stage is the most fluid. I'm ready to change direction anytime. I'm not just going to swing through a groin and swing through a groin and keep on swinging blindly. Pun intended. I'm going to pay attention to what I'm doing, what I'm feeling, what he's doing, what is he up to every step of the way. This is why, to someone who is trained, there is a specific moving stage. The stepping to the side, arm cocked back, swinging forward, not making contact yet. Moving stage. And of course, last but not least, the contacting stage. The contacting stage. This is where all those years of training, doing thousands of push-ups, sit-ups, burpees, punching that punching bag thousands of times, kicking that punching bag thousands of times. This is where it all comes, is the contacting stage. When your hand settle on the person, when your fist settle on the person, when your foot hit the person, when your forearm, the back of your forearm go into the person's groin. This is the stage where I'm committed to do as much harm as I can with the least amount of effort. So when I step to the side and swing my arm forward, I'm not thinking, I'm just going to give him a light one and then see if he'll go away. No. When we get to the contacting stage, I aim for my arm to go through his groin, through his spine, break through his hip bone, break through his pelvis. That is when contact is made. That is um, when violence has commenced. So, a quick recap then. For an untrained person, leading up to violence, there's a first stage, conceptualizing, realizing the possibility of violence. The stage two, building, building up the nerve to actually do something. Between stage two and stage three, there's a little bit of setting boundary. There's a little bit of, if he does this, I'm going to hit him. But it's very rarely thought out. And then stage three, the reacting. When the condition is met, they move forward and start swinging without much thought at all. Now, for a trained person, we have the first stage, setting boundary. There might be violence, so if this happens, I am hitting him. If this happens, I'm getting my knife. If that happens, I'm getting out my tactical pen. Very clear, okay? There's a indisputable boundary already set in place. And then stage two, visualization. Once violence has happened, I'm going to do this and move to this position, and if I can't move to this position, I'm going to step back and kick this way. If that gets blocked, I'm going to step to the other direction. If he punches me in the face, I'm going to punch him in the groin. Okay? Infinite possibility going through your head. Just trying to think what you're going to do when you get hit, what you're going to do when you hit them, what you're going to do when they suddenly reach for a weapon. And then the stage three, the loading, the most dangerous part for a martial art person is the loading, the setting your thought to action. Now you visualize everything. It's time for your body to move, not to the degree that they can see or that it telegraphs what you're going to do, but put more weight on your back heel or put more weight on your front toe, uh, reaching the hand toward the side of your body where to get your knife is just an inch away, or if you have your knife in your sleeve, you're curling your finger inside your sleeve, and then when it's time to go, you just come right out, right? The loading stage. And then number 4, we have the moving. You commence your movement, but you are still paying attention to what's going on, ready to change at the drop of a dime. And then the impact, the impacting stage, where everything you do got to be 150%. Everything you do, you're committed, you got to follow through. There's no holding back, there's no um, fancy trickery. You just want to get out of here alive. You want to survive this experience. Now, of course, please always observe the limit of law. Don't go out there with the intention of breaking someone's neck or stabbing someone in the heart or smash someone on the head, something like that. Okay, we got to worry about what's happening in court after this is all over. Thank you for checking out today's Tactical Tuesday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Wisdom Wednesday. For now, have a good night.